Well, here we go again. Good evening. We've got about 10 minutes to go before our third last match. Well, hopefully I get them all, but this is the third last match in this year's VP4 2020 World Straight Pool Championships. We had a mammoth match last night. If you didn't get to see it, the match between Larry and Semi-Pro. And, well, Larry got his highest run of the tournament, takes him into second place, the top 10 list, but my goodness me, that match could have gone either way 3 or 4 times towards the end. Larry was beginning to crack, and Semi-Pro didn't get an awful lot of things going for him really, but that scratch very first thing in the match led Larry to go in and get his 1-3-1 run, and eventually Larry scraped through. He fell over the line and he won by 200 points to I think 182, and so that takes Larry through to the final. And tonight we have the match between Albinario and Cobra, race to 150 on the one-loss side. And of course, the interesting thing about these two is that Albinario and Cobra were both victims of Larry, and Larry had a great match against Albinario, and then it got even better against Cobra, and then it started off with a horrible break shot from Larry last night. Semi got in, and then within 2 shots Semi had scratched, and then the pattern was very similar from his last 2 matches. Larry got in, made the most of it, got an excellent run, and then of course Larry did the fatal move. He took on a 6 ball that he knew that it was a bit dodgy. I certainly knew it was a bit of a problem, and he ended up scratching off it. And Semi-Pro got in, and I think he got a run of 74 or something to get himself started in the match. And then it sort of went backward and forward and backward and forward, and especially near the end there was a lot of sign of fatigue setting in for Larry. But Semi-Pro just could not get that run, that clinical run that would have took him through. Any other day he probably would have. He was right on Larry's tail. I think he got to within 9 points of Larry twice, very late on in the match. And then that one final error by Semi-Pro cost him the match. And so we are where we are. We've got Semi-Pro, who's effectively waiting in the semi-final, or the one-loss side final, whatever you want to call it, and he's going to play the winner of this match tonight. And so we don't know how it's going to go. I certainly haven't got a clue. By all accounts, Cobra's scoring well. I believe he had a high run against Fast Eddie in a practice match, but it doesn't matter what you do in practice matches, and it doesn't matter how high the runs are. It's how you do it and whether you can produce it when it matters. And either of these two players are going to have to get in and score, because both of them can easily take one another out. I think it's very evenly matched in terms of how this match might go, but we wait and see. And well, we've got 5 minutes to go. Is there anybody out there yet? Nobody's arrived. They're all leaving it late. In fact, I know what I'll do while I'm here. I'll just go in and make sure the cloth colour's at the right colour. That's what we'll do. Put that to 9 ball Oh, is it the right colour? That's fine. Don't need to change anything. Cancel. Right, everything's set. I can check my little doodle before the match starts as well. Make sure that's working. There's always a little delay when it's not in the game. That says now, what's that other button do? There's another button that does something. I think it's that. It's that one. I never use it though. Good evening. Oh, there's Larry arrived. There's Bill. Well, Larry's in to spy on a prospective opponent. Well, he knows both of them because he's played both of them in his last 2 rounds, or well, last 3 rounds if you want to call it. And I'm reliably informed, and I've been saying this all along, McClarkey, as his name is to me, he posted, I think, I don't know whether it was on Facebook or whether it was on one of my videos, but he actually posted that his name is MC Clarkey. Now, I'm going to type in the chat here. This is what McClarkey's name looks like. He has an underscore like that, and then he's got that as his name, and as far as I'm concerned, that's McClarkey. If he was going to be MC Clarkey, in my opinion, he should get his name changed to that, and then I would know. Now that makes it no doubt it's M, or as Americans say, period C period Clarkey, MC Clarkey. Right, that's cleared that up. So until he does change his name, he's still going to be McClarkey as far as I'm concerned. So have we got any predictions out there? This could go down to the wire. It could go all the way, this one. Or it could be all over in 2 visits. That's the way it might end up. Well, Cobra's in practicing. Albinario, as he's always done, will just show up, and he should be showing up any second now because we're knocking on the door of this room going up. And well, hopefully Albinario can get a bit of peace to concentrate. He's hoping the kids are going to be in bed. Unless they start jumping up and down and screaming, he might have to pause the match to go and take care of them. But he should be popping in any second. This room will go up in about 45 seconds time, and we'll be in ready to go. Welcome, Tommy. Now Albinario has arrived right on cue, and well, it's almost on 7:15. So the most important thing is the lag. Now remember, Cobra's last 2 matches, his break shot has been a disaster, and well, here's hoping for his sake he doesn't have to break, because it did not work out. He's tried the semi-pro safety break, and he showed you what can happen when it goes wrong, and it cost him against Larry. Larry got in, got a score on the board, and Cobra never got going at all in that match. So the room is up. Let's head in. We're all set to go. Both players are in. And once again, I haven't a clue who's who here. Can't remember the cues. That might be Cobra nearest us. I think that's maybe Albinario on the far side. But the one in the bottom has certainly won it. And it's Cobra that's won it, so Cobra's relieved. Albinario is going to be breaking. Race to 150. Albinario is going to try the semi-pro break. Lots of inside. Hit that 5 ball as full as you can so it banks up the table, but you've got to miss it. And it's not worked out. He's given Cobra a start. Quick look around the pack. Nothing set there, so immediate work to get done to open up this table for a run. Well, it does if you get it right. I don't know whether Cobra actually hit some of the ball above the 5 ball there. Not Cobra. Albinario. I don't know whether he actually did that, but because he seemed to hit more than he needed to there. You try and hit most of that 5 ball. Well, that does play a part as well. How the rack is actually sitting, because the rack, I never even looked at the rack to see if it was sitting square. But to get the conventional break, you've got to bring that ball. If you're breaking from the left as we look at the table, then that corner ball on the right hand side has to go to the rail and come back to the pack. If you're going to go the conventional sort of snooker break. And what happened with Larry's last night is exactly what is most likely to happen, is that ball won't get back to the pack and you'll leave it open. You'll leave an easy starter. Well, you've got plenty of time to practice that into the back of the pack break. You'll have a good 2 or 3 days to have a go at it and perfect it. So, the balls are now open. We have a dead set combo into the middle, so once again, no worries on that setup there. The 14 and the 5 are dead set, unmissable into the middle. Now he would like to go over to that right side or down to the bottom here so he can get rid of that 8 ball. 8 ball obviously goes, there isn't a problem, but he has to find a way to get there unless he wants to nudge off this 7. That's a bit of a narrower cut. He's got the nudge. And he might actually be forced into taking that combo. Yeah, there was nothing left there. And that combo's come to his rescue. I mean, he had the cut in the 4, I believe. I think he can get to the 4. Let's have a look. I mean, he could pot that if he wanted to, but I'd much rather get rid of this. Good evening, Semi. Welcome aboard. I sat and watched that full match again this afternoon when I got home. All 3 hours and however many minutes it was. So this is getting to the point where the decision, if it's not already been made, it's about to be made, because there's still 3 prospective break balls there. The 3 ball doesn't count. The 8 ball's probably the least of the 3 because it's at the top of the pack. But the 11 ball is a good candidate. And Run Out Rob has arrived. Well, so much for that, Larry. It's gone. That 11 ball, again, there's always the problems with that 11 ball, because it's so far away from the rail, and you can end up going too far inside to the rail to get in it. Now it looks like Cobra's decided it isn't going to be good enough, so he's going to leave the 8 ball. And, well, looking at the angle, he wants to be sort of there so he can actually stun into it. He doesn't want to be here. Here is no good. Even though he's got an angle, it's a slight angle, then he ends up having to smash it with a stun shot. So this is the first critical positional shot here to get good on this 8. Well, he's got parallel, but I think the problem is he's way too shallow an angle. This is he's skimming across the top of the pack with a cut angle in this 8 ball. It looks as if he's going to hit the 13. He skimmed across the 2 of them and missed the 8, and that was the main problem there, is not getting good. And Cobra, his first visit is only 14, and that's why it's so vital to make that choice in the break shot, but more importantly, make that choice dependent, and always dependent on how easy it is to get to that break ball, what ball is best for it. And it did not fall into place there, simply because Cobra couldn't get good on the break shot. Left himself too much to do. A nasty cut back on the 8. And, well, it all came to an abrupt halt. Now, of course, we've got that little combo on the right hand side. Albinario doesn't need to stress about disturbing anything on the right hand side. That 114 is no problem. That's the least of his worries. He can get rid of the 3 whenever he wants to, like now, and that opens the 5. And the only other awkward ball is the 10 ball. It's a blocker. So that 10 ball will remain an issue as long as it stays there. Now he could stun the 3 in and come up and try and run into it just to nudge it out of the way. Good evening, welcome Mark. We had, just to let you know Larry, we had 37, that's the highest of the tournament so far. We had 37 viewers last night in total who watched the match. I think that beats pretty much the rest of the matches by about 10. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, most of them would be Semi's family. You know, the guys from the local Chinese, you know, some guys he knows in the pub, guys he used to play pool with, you know, all of the waifs and strays. He'll have been sending emails to them. Now, let's think about a break shot here. It could turn out that that one ball could end up being a break ball once he plays the combo. The 9 ball looks as if it's going to go. The 15 ball, again, could be a good candidate, but it's got to be really from the middle of the table. Rather, see, this is the optimum area that you want to get in, something like that, to get to this 15 ball. Because it's like that from the rail, when you start going inside, but there's such a big distance from the rail, it makes that cut shot more difficult. So the combo's going to go. Well, you beat me too. I was going to say, don't let the door hit you in the back as you go out then. Well, he's got an easy shot to get on that 15. Pot the 1, roll the 13 in, and roll through as far as he wants to leave that nice little angle. This is the type of shot you want to have every time to get to a break ball. It makes the progression a lot more likely. That's a bit straight again. He's going to have to thump this and get away from the pack, and he has done. Bonus ball as well. And, well, there's a brave shot. How about that for a combo to start you off? Play the 13 onto the 10, 10 onto the 4, and that goes in. That's set, that's going. I'd play that now. I wouldn't bottle out. Wonder if he's had a look at it. I think that goes. That has got to go. What do you think? You don't think so? That's running like that. To get that to there. It'll go in off the jaw with a nice slow pace. But I don't think we'll get to that stage. Who is it that's been trying to get me? What's his name? Is it Stuane Kubrick? He's been trying to get me to stream, what do you call it? Shooter's Pool. He said 2 or 3 goes at it. But like I say, all the guys that do stream Shooter's Pool, all they do is stream themselves, which to me is it's pointless. Is Fly or Die still there? I think we played darts on that for like an hour or so one time. Fly or Die. That would have been at least 10 years ago. Now, what have I missed there, Larry? Can't rely on a match going off. I've been in virtual pool for 20 years now, Semi. Nobody's like me for 20 years. It's never stopped me coming back. I couldn't give a shit. Right, wait a minute. I'm losing track here on what Larry's talking about. Don't let the door on out. Tommy Preacher, Semi, people will talk to you all day to come back as they did on me when I left Fly or Die. Larry says, can't rely on a match going off, which seems to me like a sentence out of the blue. I'm losing the plot here. I don't know what Larry's talking about. Right, Semi-Pro says, nobody likes me, blah, 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 blah. And then Tommy says, yeah, still online. Larry then says, tournament matches, one of the players doesn't show. What are you talking about, Larry? Start again. I've missed a sentence somewhere here. I've totally lost what's going on. Is Larry having a conversation with somebody else and he's typing in the wrong chat window, maybe? Because it's why they don't. Right. Wait a minute. Tournament matches, one of the players doesn't show. What, is that a regular occurrence then? Oh, we're talking about Shooter's Pool now. Right, I've got you now. Right. Well, they do what I do. You don't start streaming until the two players are there. You can get all set up to do it, but you don't start streaming and then you're left sitting there like a numpty because somebody's a no-show. But as I say, every time I've looked at a live stream on Facebook, it's only ever a guy playing, and it ain't worth watching, believe me. It isn't worth watching at all, because there's very little class in these guys that are streaming. They've got a lot to learn from what I've seen. But anyway, back to more important matters. Albinario in 25. 10 ball looks like the break ball, more than likely. Now he has to stay straightish on this 2 ball if he can't. But other than that, he's going to have to run off the end rail. And there's a danger of scratching here if he runs this plain ball. You know, he's okay, better than I thought it was. So now he's going to have to just run to about the corner of the pack and not much further to leave that break angle. Yeah, but I bet you, Tommy, I'm willing to say that those guys in Shooter's Pool, in terms of playing straight pool, probably don't have a great technique. And I mean I'm talking about what I've talked about all the way through a lot of the matches, about the disciplines, about dealing with awkward balls and finding that way to get to the break shot. I bet you it's pretty much haphazard, a lot of the guys that are playing. So the break ball or the break shot has been executed. We've got one problem that he might try and deal with now, because all he needs to do is just tuck that 14 away. Yeah. Well, he didn't take that opportunity, but he had the opportunity off the 14 there just to pot it long and just draw into those 2 balls to just split them. But I mentioned the other day there, I see that Shooter's Pool have got like 3 different seasons running at the moment, or about to start. I think it's snooker. Is it snooker 9 ball, or it's either snooker 9 ball or 8 ball, and it's I think it's 3 cushion billiards or something. And so it's like a season that they're doing, like 8 or 9 tournaments in a season. Well, thing is that shooter's pool's still a relative infant in pool games as far as that goes. So a lot of the players that have gone there, most of them are all new players. I mean, there are, you know, probably half a dozen defectors that have went from a virtual pool to shooter's pool. Well, it doesn't matter what game you think is easier, because it's not down to that. It never has been down to what game is easier. It's down to what you know and how you do it. That's what it's down to. And as we've seen here, it doesn't matter how big the pockets are. I mean, everybody thought that this was going to be a cakewalk as far as scoring high runs. And that's not been the case. It's only been the best players with the best technique and the best shot choices that have been able to put the high runs together. Nobody's going to get a high run in this game by being lucky. So Albinario has constructed 35 so far. Well, this is a bit of a little tight squeeze into the middle. No, he's going long. So we have the 2 ball up the table. We've got the 8 ball, which again may end up being the break shot. The 5 ball is there. The thing is that the 5 ball's a far easier ball to leave that break shot in the 8 ball. So it looks as if he's committed to the 5, or is he going to take the 5? See, I would have preferred to have got rid of the 11 and drop onto the bottom rail and roll that 5 into the right middle, so that you just have to roll through to leave the angle in the 8. So he's now committed. The 8 ball is gone, and now he's got a 2 ball that should be just as good to get good in the 5. But anything but dead straight. He's got that little angle. And this is exactly the start Albinario wanted. He's in. He's seen his opponent just get 14 in the board. And now Albinario's in 42 and counting. Going to again run into that 2 ball. Oh, I think the 7 ball has come out. He's okay. Those 4 balls in the cluster, nothing happening with them. There is a possible combo beyond that 2 ball once it gets out of the way with the 10 and the 4. That looks actually dead set into the middle. So if he was down at the bottom here, there's a clean path for the 10 to the 4 if he was desperate enough. Well, this is a sort of scenario I quite like, because it makes it a much interesting match, especially the way Albinario is starting. He's going to get a score on the board. We don't know how big it's going to be, but it's going to be enough to ask the question of Cobra. And that's what we want. We want to see a match. Good evening, Popman. Well, did you not hear them talking about it in the stream last night, or did you go to bed? Cobra and Albinario were talking about 7:15 last night. Yeah, you must have just quit when the thing finished. You didn't wait until I said good night. Couldn't wait to get out the bloody door. Well, here we go. This is going to open them up. Oh, again, it's amazing how, you know, that 10 ball just cannoned onto the 9 and stalled the cue ball. He's still got the cut in the 11. Well, he's looking up the table, but we know what he's going to play. He's going to play a similar shot again. He's going to pot the 11 and just run into those 3. But he needs to play it a bit firmer if he's going to do that. No, he's avoiding it just to land on the 12 or the 8. 8 ball would be good because he's good on it to get rid of it. It's one of the problem balls. What's the score in the Man United Liverpool game? When I came up to start this, it was 3-2 to Man United. Or is it finished? It was certainly into the second half. Full time. Now, he's not thinking about cutting this 12 ball, is he? Well, that's the ball to open those 2 up. The 2 ball. I think it was 3-2. Popman didn't say anything different, so I finished 3-2. Oh well. Good result for Man United. They're doing quite well. They're not at the top of the table at the moment. I haven't really been paying a great deal of attention. I think they're at the top. Well, that was the cup anyway, but I'm talking about the Premier League. So welcome to all the latecomers. And as he's just left a combo there, I think. Yep, that's dead set. Absolutely dead set. So no worries there. Well, the league's over. Let's be honest. The league is over. They've still got umpteen players in self-isolation. They're playing with a second squad at the moment, but other than that they were well behind before all that happened. Now, what the hell's he done here? I mean, goodness me. He has got himself in a proper pickle here. I mean, that's absolutely nowhere he's finished, and that's a dead set combo, that 2 and 4. But look where he's got the cue ball. Now, he certainly can't go over to the right side of the table, because all that Cobra's going to do is just kick that 2 and 4. Well, is that? I haven't heard any rumours. I haven't heard anything at all. But oh, he's got it. That's a cracking shot, a recovery shot. He's going to have to play another one. And this one's a little testy one. It's all about the cut angle across that 2 ball. The thing is, I take it you're talking about Benitez going to Parkhead. I would imagine he'll be asking for a big, I'll say that again, a big wage packet. And don't forget though that just to sort of boot Neil Lennon out the door because they didn't get 10 in a row. I mean, they've just completed the quadruple treble. Remember, they won the Scottish Cup there a few weeks back, and that's the quadruple treble completed. But he might be talked into leaving rather than them officially giving him the boot to make it look better. Well, Albinario, his run has come to an abrupt halt now. It's 56 on the board. And Cobra has a shot, and let's see if he can respond. I'll tell you something though, Steven Gerrard, he would have been out on his backside at the end of the season if Rangers hadn't got themselves in this position in the league. They're odds on certainties to stop Celtic winning 10 in a row. You know, the fact that he'll have achieved that and won the title is what's going to keep him in his job, because if it had gone another season and Celtic had won 10 in a row, he'd have probably been out the door. Oh, the cue ball's heading in the wrong direction, but he's okay. Another half an ounce of weight on that and he was gone. But I mean, I remember going to Parkhead when Rangers had won 9 in a row, and I think Celtic were playing Dundee that day. I think it was Dundee at Celtic Park, and Celtic had to win to stop Rangers getting 10 in a row, and they did it. And obviously back in the late 60s and early 70s, Celtic were in 9 in a row, and it was Rangers that stopped them then. They can only stop each other. There's no any other teams who'll do it. But as I kept saying, you know, football goes in cycles. Even the Scottish football goes in cycles. Rangers had their big peak time when Souness came to Ibrox. He revolutionised them, and then what's his name that went back to Leicester, and before him it was Gordon Strachan, Neil Lennon as well. So it always goes in cycles. It's about making. Well, the one thing that is for certain is that the record that Celtic set is going to take a heck of a run to beat that. Not only the unbeaten run that they had, but the fact that they've won the treble four times in a row is a tall order to match. But it now looks as if it's Rangers' turn to to win some trophies. Aye, Martin O'Neill, that was another name I forgot about. I mean, he would always be welcome back at Parkhead. He definitely would. I mean, I presume I haven't a clue what he's doing at the moment. He left Celtic because his wife was seriously ill. I don't know whether his wife has recovered to reasonable health, and I don't know whether he's in a job at the moment. He'd be welcome back any day of the week. He would get more than a warm welcome if his name was ever thrown into the hat again. So this is the perfect scenario already. This match, Albinario has finished on 56 with his first contribution, and Cobra is going to have to better what he did in his first effort to clear out that deficit. Well, now's the time to show us one of these high runs he's been making in practice and doing it when it's needed. Well, I reckon that it's always the same. I mean, the first invitation that Gerrard gets to go back down south will be out the door. There's no doubt about that. Big money. You know, if it was I mean, I don't think he'd go down south if it was any other team than a Premiership team. I think he'll have a long wait before he gets any phone calls from Anfield. But then again, stranger things have happened. Jurgen Klopp could be out before the end of the season. He could go somewhere else. He might get a big invitation somewhere. Anything can happen. Oh dear, that is a bad one by Cobra. And Cobra is going about it the wrong way. 2 visits, 14 and 12. And he's given Albinario a break ball as well. And this could be painful. And this all just means that every chance now that Cobra gets, should he get them, it just puts so much more emphasis on scoring, and he's then going to probably start pushing the boat out, taking on some of those Larry shots that he shouldn't be taking on. And I don't think that's landed too well. Okay, he's got the 9 and the 1. That's not difficult. But he's not got an awful lot else to choose that's half decent. So, pretty much a certainty it's going to be the 1-9. It's not a difficult shot. Every ball is on, but they're only on if you take them in the right order, because we've still got blocking balls That 11 ball that's at the back there at the bottom, it's a blocker. It needs to go. Now, while Albinario is just warming up here, I'm going to go and put the heating off. It's getting too warm. So the 11 ball should go now. Now the other one that's the problem is that 6 ball, because it's awkward to get to. I mean, it goes that side, but it's awkward to get to because of the 13. It goes up the table, but it's awkward to get to because, well, he's trying to just hold it for that. Looks as if he's going to take it up the table. Could be the 15 then, the 6. That would be simple. And now the other one that's the problem is the 4 and 2. And they're not set. And the angle on the 6 isn't taking him. He can't stun into the 4. He's heading away from the 4. He could run around the other side. It's just a risky move because you're not certain exactly where the cue ball's going to finish. But if we went forward and around the angles, he would run over towards the 4 and 2. But you can't guarantee where you're going to be. But he would have a bailout ball on the 10. He's just trying to get up far enough to get to it. I think he's on it, and that will do. And he's going left English to kick up to the left. Well, that's nudged to 13, but no harm done. Although the 13, that's really high at the top of the pack. And this is not, it's not perfect. And he's going to have to, well, look at the angle he's got in the 10. If he runs forward, he's going to run into the 13. It looks as if he's trying to stun past it. Yep. And up the table, and it needs to keep going. It's got to keep going. He's way too straight. So it's cut and run here. And he's going to have to put an awful amount into this to try and get anything on the pack. And he's going to have to pinch a bit as well. That's what he's doing. He's trying to send this into the left-hand side of the pocket to get a hit. And of course, the momentum's not enough with the weight of that pack there. It's just locked him up. So you do the sensible thing. Get yourself out of there or just lose a point. but don't do anything silly. So we've got Albinario on 73, Cobra way back in 26. Now, is there anything in the pack that will entice Cobra? I don't think so. Let's have a look at that 5. That 5 and 3. How about kicking into the back of the pack, hitting that 9 ball, hitting the 12, hitting the 5 and 3, and the 3 looks as if it's running to the jaw. That's a bit ambitious, isn't it? I don't think anybody pays any attention to what you're saying now, Stubb. To be brutally honest with you. It's almost as if you're attention seeking. Like the wee boy sitting in the corner where nobody wants him in his team. Or they don't want him in their team. That might be a good idea for you, Stubb, though. That might be a change of environment. Might actually help your game. You could introduce yourself to Shooter's Pool. You'll always get a game with semi-pro. Now, what's Cobra spying here? Well, there's nothing there. Not from that side. I hope he's not desperate to think he's going to make some sort of combo there. He's looking at there's the 10 and 8, that's not set, so there's nothing set there. But he's convinced himself. Well, that's the one he's convinced he can get. Now this shot here, I don't like. Let's see where he's aiming. How do you get to that? As you're trying to play the 3 onto this to make the combo. The 3, the 5, the 12, and the 2. What a shot. Big risky shot for Cobra. He's got his reward. The 4 ball combo. Well, he took a big risk there. Now, having taken that risk at that time in the match, he's going to have to wipe out this deficit from this visit to make it worthwhile. Now the question is, has Stubb got a Shooter's Pool account? I don't think he has. Or else I would have seen him in there. I think he's so cheap he won't have one. Now bearing in mind we're talking about the fact that Stubb never paid to get his VP4 account. He won that in one of the prize tournaments that we had in VP3. So 41 in it. And he's dead straight on this 6 ball. Well, he's going to try and pinch a wee bit on it just to get out off the rail. Now, is that 1 ball going to be the break ball, or is it going to be the 5? Well, he's forced into taking the, whatever the hell it is, the 15 ball. And the 1 ball may well remain there. He could take the 8. He could take the 3 and get out for the 5, so he can just roll the 5 in and leave the high angle on the 1. But the 1's too far off that rail. He would have to get more accurate to go square in the 1 and play the 1 from behind near the bottom rail. So he's got rid of the 1, so that now nominates the 5. But well, he may want to just kill the cue ball where the 3 is and leave that as his shot. He's gone further inside. So this is a vital break shot for Cobra's hopes in the tournament. And he gets a couple of bonus balls in the break as well. But he's going to have to... He might have to play a combo here to keep this going, because he's only on the 8 and 3. He's got nothing else. I mean, he could cut that 12, but there's nothing worth looking at that end of the table. He's either going to have to play the combo or squeeze that 8 in past the 3. You look at it from there, it looks plain and simple. But when you look at it from here, where you're playing the shot, it's not quite as simple. That 3 ball just catches your eye. So it looks as if he's going to squeeze it in. Don't forget, Stubb, I've still got the video evidence of you walking out against Gary B when he beat you. And that was a money match. I put up the money for that. I just don't think you would stay the distance, and obviously unless you're actually winning. But you'll quit. You ain't got the stomach for it. Can't lose like a man. So these balls are sitting very nice. It's join the dots. Just pick your way through them. 4 ball looks to be the shot. I don't think he can get to that 9 ball from where he is. No, he's blocked off. You can get on it off the 13. Take care of those 2. Good evening. Welcome. Well, you've missed Albinario, who had a run of 56. Cobra's had 2 visits. This is his 3rd. And he's trying to get rid of that deficit. He's 23 behind. I thought Semi said it was 120. I thought he said he'd 120 break. Oh dear, the yawning started. Oh. What, was it one of these ones where he was just in a room himself and he smacked her heads open? Or was he playing somebody? Or was you sitting watching it while you were playing him? How does that look from his end? Well, again, he needs that firm stunt with half a Q-tip below the equator so that he can get away from the pack. And another bonus ball. And he's got choices to keep this going, but he's got a cluster to deal with. And he could deal with that cluster now off the one ball. Just cut that in, and he could have ran into them and still been on the 12. Or is it? No, it's a 15. Now that logo, that picture that Cobra's got, what he needs to do is he needs to make that into a PNG and change the colour of the picture to something more visible, so he gets rid of that white background. Well, we've been going for just short of the hour. We've got Cobra chasing down Albinario. We've got two possible break balls. The 10 ball looks to be the more favourable. That 9 ball again is very low in the pack. Who's all these guys in the room? I don't think I can. I don't think I can paste from here, can I? No, for some reason when I'm streaming it doesn't allow me to paste. I think it's because of that overlay with the chat. I was going to paste a link there. See if we can get any other people in. Right, hang on a minute. Right, get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Well, the one that I thought was going to be the break ball has gone. So that leaves the one ball at the back of the pack. That looks like the candidate now, considering where he's playing the 9 ball from. So just again kill the cue ball, leave a good high enough angle, and it'll be into the back of the pack, and then he has to ride his luck. I think the highest break I've seen on the stats was 133 in shooter's pool. Oh, you see how that cue ball just wants to run off the curve of those balls. It just glanced to 5, but he's got away with it, and he's still counting, and the run is 42, and he's now on the tail of Albinario, just 5 behind. Now he can pot the 10 and nudge that 3 off the rail because it's pretty tight. So this 15 ball and the 4 are the other problem. That 3 ball, well, again, half a millimetre or a millimetre off the rail, and where it is awkward because you've got to get good on it, and he's already had one opportunity. If he potted that 10 in the middle, he could have just nudged into the 3. He'd more than likely would have improved the position of that 3 ball. And the other thing is he's running out of options to deal with that 15 and 4. He's trying to get on the 15 now, and he has done, so that takes care of that. But the 3 ball remains where it is, unless he's intending that to be the break shot. Well, from the look of it, from this position, I don't see any other options. Far too many people in this room. Get them all out. Okay, I'll tell him if you're not back in time, or if he misses, whatever happens first. But Cobra has now got himself into the lead. The run goes to 50. The lead is 3 points. Ah, well, I never noticed there because I was reading the chat, but the 4 ball's fallen into place here for the break shot. But it's going to be 8 ball up for the 13. And he wants to get up the table a bit for this 4 ball. He doesn't want to be playing that that break shot in this 4 ball from where the 13 is, or up that lane to the table. He wants to get up. And the further he goes up, the better the angle he'll have just to pot that 13 and get out into the table. But not too far. The further out into the table he goes, the straighter the angle is in the port, the less damage he can do in the pack. That's pretty good. Once again though, it's got to be the firm stunt, half a Q-tip, and get the cue ball out. And that's come out very nice. Of course, with the usual cluster to be disturbed. The run is 56. And the other problem here, there's not a lot of good adjacent balls to that bunch to get into them. Let's have a look. That 11 and 15, that's going into the middle pocket. It looks as if it's going to the jaw, but the right pace, and it keeps that line, it's going to go in. But he's got a little nudge which takes that combo out of the equation. And then if he can somehow get rid of the 11 and 15, the 5 and 1 are open as long as he gets rid of the 6 ball. So there is a pattern to be played here, and it's important he gets those in the right order, because then that takes care of everything that's an issue in the middle of the table there. So if I was him, I'd be getting rid of the 9 and getting rid of the 5. I don't know, this has ended up dead straight in the 10. That's not where he wanted to be. I think he wanted to be a wee bit squarer to try and just run into them. If he'd finished sort of there on this 10 ball, pot the 10, easy just to stun into them. He's then got this problem here to deal with. And he's dead straight, really too straight. Well, that nudge in the 8 is now taking care of that, because he can pot it, and the little cannon will get him the split there. But we still haven't dealt with this this 2 ball, not the 2 ball, the 5 ball. He can do it off the 3 ball. Stun the 3 in, run into them. He'd be unlucky not to be on anything from it. Well, he's looking around, but I don't see a problem with potting that 3 ball and trying to nudge into them. Well, there's a problem now, because if he landed on that 3, he's going to run into the 11. So now he's he's leaving it a bit late here to he's now blocked by the 13, so it has to go. And he needs to try and get up the table so he can get on that 15, which he has done, and he's got a nice little angle, and that'll be problem solved. So just a gentle little nudge, and at worst he'll be on that 12 ball. So just a little feather. Well, he's running, he's avoiding it. I mean, we know that those 2 balls go, but he's now, they don't go as a combo, I don't think, or do they? Oh yes, they do. They most certainly do. They just go into the left hand side of the pocket, so he's okay. And now the 11 ball will remain, I would think. Although he's confused me before, but the 11 ball has to be the break shot. Now, is he going to try and just miss? Well, I think that was a sensible shot. I thought he was trying to avoid hitting a 5 there, but he's done the right thing and just pushing it to the bottom rail. Now he's in 2 minds, thinking about playing the 3 and then playing the 11 and leaving the 5 from behind the pack again. So he's thought different. How does that look? Oh, he's straight and slightly the wrong side to get good on this 11. So just a gentle draw, but he's overhit it. But he had to go far enough to leave that angle, so it's now a pressure shot again to pot this. He's going to hit the pack, and at least he can get into the cue ball. He's not on the rail, but he certainly doesn't want to be playing it with top. Skims off the top of the pack. He's on the 4, and he's got this sort of problem here to deal with. We can see that the 3 and the 15 are set, but obviously he can't get to them there. So now the run has got to 70 or 71, and he's now building up a lead on Albinario. And also he's taking care of that problem, but he's got now a bigger problem. Another ball in the cluster. Now if he found his way up the table, that's 7. That's a bit tight, that's 7. He's got to get away to get into those, and it will have to be sooner rather than later, I would think. Now, how does that look? Because that looks favourite to me. Just blast that 14 in and get a hit on something on that side rail. Well, he's trying to get, I presume he was trying to get to the rail to try and play that combo in behind the 9, but that's asking an awful lot to get there. I don't know why he didn't take the 14 and run forward into them, because now it's not a good layout. Well, he's looking to take this and he's going to take it as another 4-ball combo. No, he's managed to squeeze behind. That's a good shot, because I didn't think he could get there, but he's got there. So that's another good recovery, and it's taking care of the problem as well. A 2-in-1 shot, and he's now into triple figures, 101 to 73, and the run is 75. Now, where's Cobra on this high run board, this top 10? Is he 80 odd or something? I can't remember. He can't be far off. I can't remember what he's on. What his high run was. I wish I'd pasted that in the chat before this thing started. Then I would know where I am. Cobra's at 119. I forgot about that. In fact, I sat and watched it and I've forgotten about it. Now, again, it's the nitty-gritty time in the rack. There's nothing ideal. Oh dear, dear, I need to go to bed. Well, that's probably as a result of that match last night. I mean, Semi-Pro had a 74 last night, but he had 2 or 3 other little contributions which would have brought down his average. And this won't do any harm to Cobra's average. Every point he scores, that percentage just goes up a little notch. So, it's going to be the 7-ball, and he's going to have to get square on it off this 5-ball. But look where that 7-ball is. Pay attention to where it is, because it's right at the right-hand end of the pack. And that will do. But this is always a scary shot, this one. Onto that back wall of balls. Oh, a couple of bonus balls as well. He's doing it the quick way. He's gone to 86. No. No, I mean, his first 2 contributions were piddly little things anyway, and that's why he's in 112. But this is his first big contribution, having gone like 50 odd behind from Albinario's run of, I think, 56 or something like that. He's now in good shape here. Although, once again, the no definite break ball yet. The 3 balls at the head of the pack, that's not good. We've got these balls all in the triangle, they're no good. It could be I mean, again, it could be a similar shot to the last time. This time, though, that problem is that the 14 ball is off the rail a lot more. So if he was to roll the 5 in, he would need to go to sort of there, so he could then pot the 14 and stun into the pack. It's this gap that we have here from the rail that makes it a bit more awkward just getting good on that 14. The 1 ball, or is it the 9 ball? What ball is it? It's the 1 ball on the side rail, isn't doing much there. And Cobra is rapidly approaching 3 figures. Just give me 2 seconds, guys. 2 seconds and I'll be back. He's not going to miss here. Right, we're back. Let me just do this. Hang on a sec. So we've got Semi-Pro in 179, Larry in 131, Cobra in 119. So he's chasing down Larry for second place on the leaderboard. That's the goal here for Cobra. Well, it ain't over till it's over, as the famous saying goes, Albie. Oh dear. And I think I've cursed him. Look where he's finished. He's finished in a fatal position on the 14. He's having to pinch it and steal an angle around the corner to try and get into them. And he just could not get the momentum in it. And I think I've done him. The old commentator's curse has done him on 98. And try as he might, there ain't anything there, so it's run for cover, and Albinario is not down and out yet. Although he could be from his next mistake. But it is a very strong response at the right time for Cobra. A run of 98 has not only got rid of the deficit, but has given him a 51-point lead. And this match is tipping in favour of Cobra right at this moment. Well, the obvious mistake here is Cobra playing that 9 ball. No good can come from that. It's simply going to go left. But he's got to use the pack for cover. I don't see anything that's set in that pack. But if he's going to use this 9 ball, he's got to get the pace right. And he certainly doesn't want to nudge it towards the pocket and leave it there, because even if Albinario is snookered in the pack, he would go up the table and bank it in probably. So it's a dangerous safety using that 9. And this is even more dangerous. He's got to get it thin, and he's got it. So now it's down to who can hold their nerve in the safeties. Now, what's Albinario looking at? Well, look at that 15 ball, 12 ball, sorry. He's given it serious consideration, but The worry is that 4 ball is blocking the 11. That 11 isn't going to go clean to that 8 ball to make the hit, and he's taking a big risk if he thinks it will. I don't like that if he's contemplating that. This is the problem ball. That ball there is blocking the path of that 11 onto the 8 to make the combo. And he's done the right thing. He's not been enticed, and that knuckle has probably, well, it hasn't made any difference, but Cobra is looking at the same thing, but he knows that you can't get clean to that 8. So you're taking a risk trying to make that hit and get enough on that 11, even though it has to go through the 4 ball to hit that 8. It's a big, big risk. Is that a big enough risk to be taken when you've got a 50-point lead? I think Cobra's desperate to play this, but I don't like it. It's a high tariff shot, and he looks as if he's taking his own bait here. Well, this has got to work. Look at the 4 ball and look at the 11. That 11 ball is hitting a chunk off that 4 ball to make the hit. And he's got it. It's worked out. And that could be the match winner right there. Big, big risk. And now Albinario wishes he'd taken it on. It was touch and go as to whether there was enough to get there to make that shot. That 4 ball was always impeding. And now Albinario is watching Cobra running for home. And Albinario may well have thought what I thought, or else he would have played it. And Cobra made that choice. And it looks like it's going to be the winning call on that shot. Well, I wasn't convinced that would go. I mean, it's obvious that if the cue ball could get to the first hit without interfering with that 4, you were odds on to get it, but the risk was taken, that chance that there was going to be enough momentum to hit that second ball past the 4. And I suppose if I was 50 odd points behind it, I would be worried about taking it, because you know what the consequences are. But fair play to Cobra. He talked himself into doing it. Although he's got himself in a bit of trouble here, I think. Can he see that 7? No, he can't. But he can drop the 2 in. Well, that's what the game's all about. It's could have, would have, should have. We're all experts in hindsight in everything that we do. And when you make that decision, I mean, there's a fine example there of make the decision because you know the penalty that you'll pay if you get it wrong. But Cobra's also made the same decision. Even though he had a 50-point lead, he took the big risk because he's running for the finishing line. And Larry had the same thing last night. He took a big risk. He took more than one big risk, and they both backfired on him. And it left semi-pro lifelines. The only difference there is his semi-pro couldn't get himself started, or else he'd have just pinched the whole match. The way things have been going from Cobra with that 98 run and this one here, and provided he can take care of the 5 and 6, which is obviously easy to take care of, you just drop behind them because they're not set anywhere. But this match should be over if he can get the break shot. He's just trying to drop down there right now. And it may well be... what's the angle like? He could actually make this 6 ball into the break shot here. Just a little nudge through, but he's not taking that risk. Because the 6 ball's in the pack. But I think he could have just brushed through there. And the only danger would have been he could have brushed behind the 6 and blocked himself off for a shot. That would have been the danger with that shot. But at the same time, the reward would have been he would have had a much easier break shot than what he's going to be left with. And the other problem is he's going to have a very tight short angle here if he's trying to play a break shot from here. The problem with playing it from this side is you're away at the left hand side of the pack. It's there. So he's going to have to play it from the short side. And he's going to have to go with a bit of inside left here. So he's making the cut. He's going to have to play this with a bit of power because he doesn't want to stall again. Bit of inside left. He's caught the corner of the pack. And he's going to have a ball down the right rail. There's nothing in the left. So he's fine. He can get out of jail with that ball there on the right hand side, which I think is a 12 ball. And well, he's only 12 away and they're all there for him. So it's been a good response from a slightly dodgy start from Cobra. That 98 was the meat of this match. That's what got him out of the sort of either 40 odd, 50 odd deficit, and has got him into that 50 odd point lead and counting. But more importantly, to use the F1 terminology again, he's just coming up to the final couple of corners. The checkered flag is out, and the only thing that can undo him here is a puncture in the homeward straight, or the home straight I should say. So 9 away. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's having a little nudge. That's gone wrong because he wanted to get rid of that 15. He can still do it. It's not a difficult combo. And I think he can see the 14, or can he? Yes, he can. So no panic. Well, I think that who was in the last final? Was it Keith and Cobra? Wasn't it? And Cobra finally won. So that was an all UK final. So it's looking odds on that it's going to be an all UK semi-final to see who takes on Larry. So 5 away, and he's still going to need one of those balls. Or was it you and Cobra? Aye, what was the match? Who the hell was Keith? Aye, Keith was playing Cobra, wasn't he? It was in a 9 ball one. That was the one where Cobra led by 5-0 at the start, and then Keith got back into it. Yeah, that's the one. Aye. I'm mixing myself up. It's the old brain shutting down at this time of night. So 2 away, and they're both sitting there, and it's been a strong response from Cobra. That 98 did it. I think he can. I think he's looking to see if he can squeeze past the two and just stun up. It's a bit tight, but you know, even if he ends up the top end of the table here, he can still get to that wood ball from this side. But there's no alarms here with this shot. Well, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Well, it's a thin cut. This has got to go in anyway. He's going to have to hit it though. Decent enough pace so it can get down the line there. But this for the match. And in it goes. And so that run of 98 and that finishing run of 26 have taken Cobra through by 150 points to 73. Let's have a quick look and see how that places everything now once it's all there in black and white, and that will update any second, and you'll see Semi-Pro is lying there and waiting, and that will go any minute, and Cobra will be through to play Semi-Pro to see who gets through to play. This is taking a bloody age to update. I've changed it to 30 seconds. Don't break on us now. There we go. So Cobra and Semi-Pro, and they have until February the 1st to get this match played. So that is what? This is the 24th, isn't it? So that's like a week they've got to get it played. And of course, we know now Larry has a week to practice getting a half decent break, and he will be seeing either Cobra or Semi-Pro in the final, and hopefully I can get it. Unlucky Albinario, not much you can do. It could have went either way from that point of view. It might have been a lot more interesting had Albi got a bit more than that 56. It wasn't quite enough. Cobra was up to the task, the question was asked, and he produced the goods when it mattered, and that's all you can ask. So thanks again guys for your company, thanks for watching, and hopefully we can get an update fairly soon about when Semi and Cobra are going to play their match. And remember, if you don't get to see any of the matches, as long as I get them, they'll be on my YouTube channel. You can watch them anytime. So until we meet again, take care, stay safe, wear your mask, and I will see you again soon. Oh aye, and keep your distance.